Today, we're diving into one of the most shocking true crime cases to emerge in 2025, the Sarah Grace Patrick case. A story that involves social media manipulation, family tragedy, and a twist that left everybody stunned. On a February morning in 2025, in the quiet town of Tyus, Georgia, a horrific discovery was made. Kristin Brock, 41, and her husband James Brock, 45, were found shot to death in their home, off Carrollton Tyus Road. The tragic situation was made worse when the bodies were discovered by Kristin's 6-year-old daughter, Sarah Grace Patrick's younger sister. The initial 911 call came from 17-year-old Sarah Grace Patrick herself. At the time, she appeared to be another victim of this senseless tragedy, a teenager who had lost her mother and her stepfather in what seemed like a random act of violence. But as investigators would soon discover, nothing about this case was as it initially appeared. From the moment that 911 call was received, law enforcement launched what they described as a relentless investigation. The Carroll County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation Crime Lab, and private forensic laboratories all began piecing together what really happened that morning. For months, the investigation carried on as authorities analyzed what was described as mountains of physical and digital evidence, which then led to countless interviews. But it was the digital evidence that would prove to be the key to cracking this case wide open. And that digital evidence led investigators to the last person anyone expected, the teenager who had made that 911 call. In the days and weeks following the murders, Sarah Grace Patrick began posting on TikTok. But these weren't just any posts, they were carefully crafted videos portraying herself as a grieving daughter and stepdaughter. She was posting content that painted her as an innocent victim, gaining sympathy from viewers who had no idea they were potentially looking at the alleged perpetrator of the very crime she was grieving. Then audaciously, Patrick allegedly reached out to other TikTok creators, specifically those who focus on true crime content, asking them to research and report on the shootings that took place in February of 2025. If the allegations are true, Sarah Grace Patrick was not only posting grieving content about murders she allegedly committed, but she was also actively trying to get other content creators to cover her case, potentially to control the narrative or throw suspicion off herself. After months of investigation, on July 8, 2025, everything came to a head. Arrest warrants were issued for Sarah Grace Patrick, and in a move that shows she knew the net was closing in, she turned herself in at the Carroll County Jail. Patrick has been charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault in connection with the deaths of her mother and stepfather. She's currently being held without bond. The sheriff's office released a statement saying that from the very moment the 911 call was received, their investigation never stopped. What makes this case particularly disturbing is not just the alleged crime itself, but the calculated nature of what followed. If the allegations are true, Patrick didn't just commit these murders. She then orchestrated an elaborate social media campaign to portray herself as the victim. The fact a 6-year-old child was the one who discovered the bodies adds another layer of tragedy to this case. That little girl, who had already lost her father and stepmother, was traumatized by being the one to find them. And if the allegations are correct, her own sister was responsible for putting her through that horror. The community of Tyus, a small town where everyone knows everyone, has been rocked by these revelations. People who had offered support and sympathy to Patrick in the aftermath of the murders now find themselves questioning everything they thought they knew about this case. While Patrick has been arrested and charged, this case is far from over. Investigators are still working to piece together the full picture of what happened that February morning, and to what the motive was behind this attack. What led a 17-year-old to allegedly commit such a horrific crime against her own family? How long had she been planning this? The digital evidence that led to her arrest is likely to play a crucial role in any upcoming trial. Her TikTok posts, communications with other content creators, and whatever other digital footprints left behind, will all be examined. We've seen criminals use social media before, but rarely have we seen such a calculated attempt to control the narrative and manipulate public opinion after the fact. The Sarah Grace Patrick case is still developing, and there will undoubtedly be more revelations to come as this case moves through the legal system. What we know for certain is that 2 people lost their lives, a 6-year-old child was traumatized, and the community was shaken to its core. Our team's condolences go out to the loved ones of Kristin and James Brock. This case reminds us that in the age of social media, the line between victim and perpetrator can sometimes be blurred by those who know how to manipulate the digital landscape. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to comment your thoughts below in regards to this ongoing case.